Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Revelry, Plurk, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 7th of July, 2014, and this is episode 86 on tour. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. The Stuffing It Along is going strong. There are already several finished objects, which is super exciting. The stuffies can be works in progress from before the beginning of July, and this runs through the end of August. So get in anything that you finish in that time, but make sure there's some actual work, not just like piecing together to do on them since July 1st. We have a coupon code for, is that right? Yeah, a coupon code for e086. And I didn't write it down, but it's in the thread and I will put it in the show notes. So definitely check those out. Here's what I'm working on for that knit along. So speaking of e086, here are the eyes. I will talk about the project shortly. That is an idea. Those are the dragon eyes. He has many, Lucas, the owner of the shop, he has many different sizes and different colors and sets and things. So go check it out. It's very cool. There's a tag, which is BPHSTUFFY. I think that's it. I'm unprepared. I'm very sorry. But it'll be in the thread, obviously, and maybe if I remember, I'll put it in the show notes. Sorry about that. There are two other tags, though. I bullied my friends into joining Tour de Fleece, and they were like, well, we're not on teams. And I was like, we can just be on Team Bunnyfish. So it's not really a team. There are no prizes, and nobody's going to really be checking in on them except me. But if you want to tag your photos on Instagram or Ravelry with BPHTDF, I will be checking them out and looking in on them. And then some of my friends started a magic ball shawl knit along, and they're tagging that on Instagram with BPH shawl. Did I not write that one down either? Whatever. It'll be across the bottom of the screen right now. I forgot magic of editing. You can see it. So my friends are awesome, and that makes my life very happy. Finished objects. I have 3. I'll show you the one that I can show you completely first. So this is knit out of 716 knit, 716 sock in the colorway 5x5. And they are the Blizzard Hoe it's Blizzard Hoe for Me socks, which is a pattern I designed. And it's easier to just show you one. So here's the sock. They are knee highs. There's lace on the front and instep and ribbing on the back. I really like the pattern, which is good since I designed it. But these socks were difficult because it's the 4th time that I've knit them this year. On the bright side, the yarn is gorgeous, and they're finished, so I don't have to do this pattern again for a very long time, if ever. I also finished the test knit that I told you that I was working on last week, and there's a little flash. That's kind of what it looks like. I knit that using Sensations Truly in Truly Turquoise and Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock in Black Watch. It looks like that. And I finished a pair of design socks. Super exciting, right? They have textured stitches and, what is that, twisted stitches. And the yarn I used for it was Premier Serenity Sock in Woodsy Green. And I'm going to do a second pair of these before I put out a call for test knitters. So probably looking for test knitters for that around the end of this month. In case you're interested. Now into more things that I can actually show you. Works in progress. I'll start with the dragon. So here's the dragon. The pattern is Dirk by Lydia Trisselt, and still working on it, using Sensations Bamboo and You pattern in the bright multi color. It was held double for the hood and part of the body and the ears with some orange cashmere yarn. I don't know what it is, but someone sent it to me to make something for Gabriel, and I did because I love my son enough to make him things with cashmere. Oh yeah, and the tail has the cashmere yarn in it as well. And then about here on the body, about here, I ran out of that cashmere yarn, and I'm now using Madeline Tosh or Malabrigo. I don't know, it's an orange color and it's from one of them. So I'm holding that double with the bright multi for the arms. So I have one arm finished. I need to make the other arm. I'm using a US size G hook, which is 4.0 millimeter, and this, which I'm using for the cuffs and probably for the dragon's spikes, is unknown yarn that was sent to me for Gabriel, and I made him the I Love You to the Moon and Back socks, Over the Moon socks, the test knit that I did for Megan Williams. I made Gabriel socks out of that, and I had, a little bit left over. So I'm going to use it in the dragon. All I have left is an arm, putting the pieces together. I need to decide if I'm going to do wings or not. I probably will because it's in the pattern. I need to do spikes down the spine and decide if I'm going to do a scarf or not, because the pattern calls for a scarf, but I feel like that would be work that I'd be putting into a toy that would either be immediately destroyed or lost unless I really tacked it down. So I'm not sure, to scarf or not to scarf. That is the question, and I would love your opinion. Also working on another toy. So this is Baby Elephant Amigurumi pattern. That's what it's called. And I didn't write down who it's by because I'm a fail. I'm saying a lot. I am getting close to finished. I have 3 of the 4 legs done. This is, again, this is made in true amigurumi style where there's not sewing after. You do all the pieces at once, except I think you have to go back and sew on the ears because I haven't gotten to that part yet. And I do mine with the wrong side facing out because I like the way that the stitches meld better than the right side. The pattern says to have the right side facing out. I'm just telling you that when I make toys, I like the wrong side facing out. Don't know why, I just do. The yarn I am using is Solar Flare Fibers, Zoya Base, which is spelled with an R, Zoya Base in the People Eater colorway. And I have barely made a dent in this cake of yarn. I'm using US size D 3.25 millimeter hook for that. And it's so cute. Look at how cute that elephant is. I'm excited to have that finished, and which it will be next week because I'm almost done. I have 2 more design projects. This is the second pair of the green socks. This is what I'm going to make the second pair in. Solid color. I'm doing both pairs in solid, but I don't think you would have to do it in solid. I wouldn't suggest a super highly crazy variegated yarn like this, but I think a semi-solid or variegated, or maybe even a self-striping would work fine. I don't know. I'm not sure about the self-striping. This is Premier Serenity sock. No, it's not. It's Sensations Truly and Truly Red. This pair of socks that I am designing, this is the bottom of the feet. This is from Solar Flare Fibers. It's the Apollo base, which is e080 BFL 20 nylon, and it is in Confetti Silver Cake. I love this color so much. So much. I can't even express how much I love this color. But I do. And the pattern is working up really, really cool. I'm excited to show you guys that probably again at the end of the month, and I'll be looking for dust knitters for that. I have this in my Haley bag, blah. I have it in my Haley bag. She's going to be opening a shop soonish. Maybe already. I don't know. I haven't seen her in a few days. And this is the project bag, and I have mine folded over twice actually, so it just really hugs the cake. But it's about this tall when it's not folded up. And I will let you know when she opens that shop, because I think her first update is going to be the hobo bags that she made for us at for our group of friends for the ZK. And then the next update will be these project bags like this. It's got a drawstring with a thick ribbon, which is nice because that ribbon's not going to break, and a stopper. This week I also started the Urban Survival Mystery Knit Along. You probably won't be spoiled because I'm still on the first clue and the third clue is out. I am doing mine in a variegated, and I am sure that Josh is cringing in horror because I really like variegated things. The colors that I'm using, this is, I don't have the tag here. This is Nooch Fiber Midtown Sock or Morningside Sock. Did I write that down at least? Midtown Sock, says my notes. That could be wrong. In the colorway Fade Out. So it's all the, it's the brown with green and blue flecks. And then I'm using Truly Turquoise, Sensations Truly Turquoise. This is what I had left over from the test knit, minus that stripe that's already in here. And then this is Premier Serenity Sock in the charcoal colorway, because I have leftovers from the temperature thigh highs, so I decided I would use those together, and I am liking the way it's working up. I'm way behind, but I'm excited to catch up. I think I will probably be able to finish within the knit along time frame, just not, you know, right away at the beginning. But that's what mine is looking like. I'm using stitch markers from Winemaker's Sister, and these are the ones that change color. They're like mood beads. So they change colors, they heat up. So they were blue, and now they are this greeny brown color. They make the knitting happy. Right now it's a lot of garter. I think probably the entire thing is going to be mostly a lot of garter, but that's fine. I just seem to be doing a lot of garter right now, and it is, I don't know, it's not, I'm not in love with the doing of the garter right now. I like it. I know I'm going to like the finished object, but yeah, I could be farther. I only worked on it one day. I started it 2 days ago. So if I had worked on it at all yesterday, it would be farther than it is now. And the other garter project that is a complete fail this week. Oh, also I'm knitting that shawl on a US size 4 3.5 millimeter. The pattern calls for a 5, but I'm actually going to be casting on another shawl probably this week using my size 5, and I only have one size 5. So I decided that it would be fine if the garter was a little bit more dense. This is my Dreambird. Ooh, wrong side. So as you can see, I did not do a section every 2 days. I didn't even finish a section this week. I don't know, I'm not super in love with the garter and short rows. But as long as I make progress on it every week, it's still making progress, right? I'm going to keep telling myself that. And hopefully next week when I show it to you, it will be further. I'm using US size 2 2.75 millimeter needles. The pattern calls for a 3.0 millimeter needle, which I do not have. The yarn is Peyton's lace sequins for the red, and then Peyton's lace for the white gray. And I'm keeping all that in my kitchen counter crafter bag, which I love so much. And it kind of shames me into the fact that I have not knit on that. It's like, but why don't you want to work with us? And I'm like, I do. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The bag and I, we have a conversation. So the Tour de Fleece is happening. Are you participating? If you're participating but not on a team, of course, tag things with BPH TDF. And I have a thread in the group. It's just the Spinner's Diary. I'm just going to keep adding posts into there. But if you want to post in there, I would love to see what you're working on. I am working on 3 projects right now. So my goals for Tour de Fleece were to spin 20 minutes a day on a lace project, a specific lace project, 10 minutes a day on a specific supported spindle project, and 15 minutes a day on any other of my spinning works in progress. So first up, I showed you last week I was working on the bat, the merino bat, and the first ply is finished. I didn't weigh it, but it's about 1 ounce. And I've started on the second ply, and you might notice that it is vastly different. That is because this bat had the turquoise base and locks of orange, yellow, and purple. And then this one has long strips of color. So I opted to split it into the colors. So the first part is going to be this orangey color with a little bit of yellow. The second part is going to be yellow, which is going to probably have a little bit of the orange and a little bit of the turquoise in it, because I wasn't super picky with splitting. Just kind of like, I'll rip this chunk off. And then the third section is going to be turquoise with a little bit of yellow overlap, and the fourth section is going to be in just turquoise. So that's the way the second ply is going to work up. I might have this project finished next week, maybe. I'm not promising because I don't know, it'll depend on if I strictly spin 15 minutes on this a day, or if I, spin 15 minutes and then spin maybe 5 minutes more because I get distracted, because that sometimes happens. Or, if I had a chunk that was only like this much left after the 15 minutes, I would obviously spin that and then also attach the next chunk as one does. The next project is the Huckleberry Knits Superwash BFL. This is what I did yesterday. Well, not all of this. This is the outer layer or 2 is what I did yesterday. So I'm doing 20 minutes a day on this, and it's going to take a long time because it is going to be a lace weight 2-ply. Ooh, there's a sloppy bit. I'll have to take care of that. There we go. So it's going to be a lace weight 2-ply for Josh, who's sort of a knitter. He gave me the fiber to spin for him. And I have the first half of the first ply finished. So it's just waiting for plying, which is why I'm spinning the first part of the second ply. And this is the, I'm doing this as a fractal. So I had 4 small slivers from one half, and then one half is this big giant ball of things. So this ply will have the long repeats of the color. I don't anticipate finishing this project by the end of Tour de Fleece, but I do anticipate making a really big dent in this project. So maybe by the end of the month, it will be complete. That is my goal. It's a lofty goal. Lace is a lot harder to, not harder. Lace takes a lot more time than fingering weight for a 2-ply in a month, but I'm going to try really hard. The last project is the supported spindle. So I'm going to show you a couple things. First, I'm going to show you this braid. So this is roughly what the braid of fiber looked like. It is Cloud Lover. It is 40% merino, 40% superwash merino, 20% silk. It's 4 ounces, and the colorway is Blackberry Truffle. So this is half of the braid because I was having a hard time spinning my on my supported spindle, and my friend Lorraine said yesterday, okay, bring it in and I'll help you look, because I only started on Saturday, which was the day that Tour de Fleece started. That was the first time that I started spinning on a supported spindle. I mean, I did a little bit of testing on her supported spindles, but that was a really long time ago, and so the muscle memory is just not there. So I brought it in and I had it in a ball like this, the fiber. Well, actually, I just had a chunk of this fiber. I didn't even bring the fiber with me. And she was like, oh, well, that's your problem. I have seen people spin off of the braid with their supported spindles, but apparently, well, and not just apparently, it's just too difficult for me because I don't have the practice. I can totally spin fine off the braid for drop spindling, but for supported spindling, I'm not there yet because I've only done it for 2 days. Well, 3 days now, because I did my spinning this morning. So I'll show you the spindle. This is my Spanish peacock, and I love it so much. And my spin is not even, but it's kind of in the same range-ish for the most part. Right at the end it got pretty messy, as it sometimes does. But I went to knitting. Oh, do you want to see the tag for the Huckleberry knits? I didn't realize that it was in here instead of in a drawer or something. So there's the Huckleberry knits superwash blue faced luster. Anyway, I did my 10 minutes this morning because my goal is 10 minutes. More than 10 minutes and I tend to get a little frustrated. I don't have a spinning bowl, so what I'm using is the lid from a candle, with the added benefit of now everything smells like vanilla, which I love. It's my favorite. So I just set this in my lap, and that is what I spin into. Anyway, she took about half of what I had brought, the chunk of fiber, which was only a piece about this long. She took half of it and she spread it out and made a faux log, just, you know, spreading it out. And she said, okay, so you can do it this way, or you can use some hand cards. So she loaned me her hand cards for the week. And my plan for this fiber is to take half of it, so this part, and make these roll logs and spin off of that, which is working great. But I was making these roll logs last night, and I was like, wow, this making of the roll logs really is kind of muddying up the colors, because there's a lot of color in there. Not in a bad way, it's still really pretty. I like the way this yarn is turning out, but I also really liked the pops of color in the fiber. So my plan for this spin is to spin half of it on my supported spindle using the roll eggs, and to spin the other half, which is why it's broken up, on a drop spindle, so I get those very distinct pops of color. And also I picked the more colorful half because I split it, I folded it in half and then split it instead of like splitting it down the center. I picked the more colorful half to be spun on my drop spindle. This has less of the pops of pink. So that's my plan for this spin. And I think that that's still respectable. I kind of feel like I'm copping out a little by only doing 2 ounces on the supported spindle, but it's my first project, and other people spin their fibers on a variety of methods and then ply them together. So I kind of feel like I'm cheating. Do you think I'm cheating? I'm still gonna do it, but do you think I'm cheating? Is this cheating? I feel like it's cheating. I made 8 hexapuffs this week, so these 2. are celebratory from when I finished the test knit. Then this one is celebratory. Well, not celebratory, but it's the yarn, the 5x5 716 knit, left over from these socks. And the rest of these are yarn from the ZK. These two. And this one, I'm pretty sure this is a 716 colorway, but if not, it's definitely a hexapuff I got from Jenna at the ZK. And this is the Simply socks. I showed you those cards that had the small bits of yarn attached. Ooh, that side's the not pretty side. This side is the side that will be shown from my blanket. So I made that hexapuff by tying those strands together. One strand per color at a time so that I got maximum stripey. And I did 9 blanket squares. I thought I did equal amounts hexapuffs and blanket squares this week, but apparently not. So here's that Simply Socks square and 5x5. These two are ZK yarns. I believe this square is made with leftover Malabrigo lace from the sweater that Josh knit for himself that ended up being mine. This is ZK yarn. And this one, so is this one. This was ZK yarn from Spun Right Round, and it was a sample that was in the goodie bag. So I actually have a tag for that. I wanted to show you, and this was also from the ZK. My blanket is getting huge, huge. It's getting awkward to show you every week. I'm still only reading the story of King Arthur and his knights. I have the Dust Jacket by Howard Pyle. I think I just haven't been reading because I don't, how to say this, I don't want to read this. I do want to read the story. It's just not something that I'm like, ooh, I need to read this now. It's like, if I'm still awake enough when I go to bed to read it, I will read it, but I don't pick it up during the day. So I think I need to grab a book off of my bookshelf or go to the library and pick up another book and just read them, like trade off reading them. Because I miss reading, but I just, the story is good. I don't love the writing. But I told you that was going to be a problem. My list this week is 3 podcasts to check out. So first, Mara Gale, who used to do Exchange Student in Fiberland, she has restarted her podcast, but now it's called Spartacus Knits because she doesn't really feel like she's grown as a knitter. It's no longer, she's in new territory that she doesn't know. So she renamed it, and she has 2 episodes out now. The second is Dairyland Knits with Josh, who is fantastic, and I met him at the ZK this year. And he said the nicest things on his podcast about my class that I taught because he took it one day, and it was just wonderful. So go check his podcast out, and P.S. it's a guy's podcast. So I know there are tons of people looking for more guys podcasts, so there's one. And then this last one, I'm sure that you've heard of it if you watch any other podcast other than mine. It's called Bakery Bears with Dan and Kay, or with Kay and Dan. I don't know if they're particular of how that's put together, but they're a husband and wife, and they have the Kay has designed the Mr. and Mrs. Bakery Bear patterns, and they have a long podcast. It's about, well, I would say it's probably over an hour each episode, or right around there. But they do a lot. They take you on tour to places around them where they like to knit, and they have adorable accents, and it's a really fun podcast. Very high energy. Dan has very high energy. Kay, she doesn't have low energy, but it's a nice compliment. because he's all like, yeah, let's do things. And she's like, okay, let's do things. I really enjoy their podcast. I think you would probably really enjoy their podcast if you haven't already started watching. But all 3 of those podcasts are fairly new. I think Bakery Bears maybe has 6 episodes. Dairyland Knits just put out the first one. So if you're looking for something to fill in the blank for your podcasters who may be on brief hiatus for the summer, definitely give them all a watch. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!